Hello.
Okay, Warren Fiscal Court, special call meeting for public comments on solid waste and recycling proposals. Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. It's now called to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here. It looks like we have a full house, and particularly want to welcome Esquire Ron Cummings, who's going to lead us in prayer and immediately lead us in the pledge following.
Thank you, Judge. Bow with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we thank you for today, Lord. We thank you for all the good gifts of life. Lord, as we meet here tonight talking about something that's really important for Warren County, may the comments be robust, but may we also remember that who we serve and why we serve, Lord. Thank you for all the people who are here represented and those who could not be here. Pray for guidance and wisdom and discernment, Lord, and all that we talk about tonight. Lord, especially thank you for sending your Son, Jesus Christ, to die for us. I ask you all these things in your precious holy name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, buddy.
All righty. Of course, we're not going to consider the minutes from the previous meeting. We're going to hold those until the regularly scheduled meeting next Friday. Okay. First of all, I'll just start right over here. If I'll introduce all the court members. Esquire Payne is the 3rd District. Esquire Doug Gorman with Magistrate of the 1st District. Esquire Tom Lawrence, the Magistrate of the 2nd District. Esquire Ron Cummings, who's the Magistrate of the 6th District. Esquire Mark Young, who's Magistrate of the 5th District. And Esquire Excuse me, yeah.
It's hard to say, we know.
Yeah. Esquire Rex McWhorter with the Magistrate of the 4th District, and here we go. I swear I don't have COVID. Of course, up here you'll see the county attorney. Amy Milliken is with us. The Deputy Judge Executive, Marie Smith, is with us. Stan Reagan, who's the Director of the Solid Waste and Recycling, and of course Sean Alcott, who is our solid waste attorney with Carrick and Stivers. And I'm glad this is a meeting. I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking. We got Doc Kalin, who is on the Solid Waste Committee. He doesn't have a vote in this group, but he has a vote on the Solid Waste Committee, and he has been serving in that capacity for about 29 years, I guess. So he has a good grasp on exactly what has taken place over the years in this franchise, in these franchises. And at this time, I'll give the floor to Ms. Alcott. You want to go ahead and take the floor at this time, since I obviously can't talk?
Can you turn our mic on?
Okay, is that better? Great, okay. My name is Sean Alcott. I'm an attorney here in Bowling Green. I practice with Carrick Backert, and it's been my honor and privilege to work with the Fiscal Court on matters relating to solid waste and recycling for many, many years. Back in 1995, when I was just a very young lawyer at a law school working for the Warren County Attorney's Office, I had the opportunity to advise and guide the Fiscal Court through this process, the initial process. And since that time, I have been back as needed as private counsel to assist the court. When we were planning this evening, we thought it might be a good opportunity to give a little thumbnail sketch of the history of solid waste processing in Warren County, just so everybody understands why we are here and kind of the process that we're going through. Back in the 90s, the General Assembly tasked all counties with matters, the responsibility and obligation to plan for, manage, and oversee the collection of solid waste in the Commonwealth. So pre-1995, the city of Bowling Green had issued the franchise for solid waste collection, residential collection in Bowling Green. With the amendment to Chapter 109 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes, that responsibility fell to the fiscal court, as counties were tasked with that primary responsibility. So in 95, the city's franchise was terminating, and the county took up that process, and we issued an RFP, public process whereby proposals were submitted, they were evaluated, and the court awarded a franchise. At that time, the franchise only related to the city of Bowling Green and primarily to residential and commercial industrial services within the city. After 5 years of experience overseeing that franchise, the court decided that they wanted to again advertise, issue a new RFP to open up that process to be more expansive and cover the entire county. So in 2000, a new RFP was issued, proposals were prepared and received, they were evaluated, and the fiscal court issued a number of franchises which covered residential services within the city, commercial and industrial services throughout the county, and residential services in the county outside the city limits, and also a recycling franchise. Those franchises have now come to their natural end, and so the court is going through the process that we went through in 95 and in 2000 to publicly bid this process by issuing an RFP. Proposals have been submitted in response to that RFP, some wanting to do all the services described, some wanting to do only a limited scope of services. They have been accepted by the court and is now in the process of evaluation. Part of that evaluation is to hear from the public what your concerns are, what you like, what you don't like, just your thoughts and views about our current solid waste collection system and what we might put together for the future, given the proposals that have been received. So that is the purpose of tonight, is to hear from the public. Glad to see a lot of interest in this matter because it is very important. It affects everybody pretty much every day. It's a very vital and necessary service. So that's a thumbnail sketch of our history and a little description of what we've got presently on the court's agenda, which is the evaluation of the proposals that have been submitted. We have a total of 8. Tomorrow, there will be an opportunity to hear directly from the proposers. They will describe what they've submitted. The court will have an opportunity to ask questions, to clarify and probe some issues. But that's for tomorrow. Tonight's agenda is solely to hear from concerned citizens. And Stan, will you want to go over the kind of ground rules? We want to hear from everybody, but we obviously can't let everybody talk without limitation. So we've got a process in place to ensure that we give everybody a fair and equal amount of time to express their opinions.
Thank you, Sean. I'm Stan Reagan. I'm the County Environmental Coordinator. I'll be your moderator tonight as far as the time goes. We will each allow 6 minutes to the proposers. At 5 minutes, I will raise this red piece of paper. That means you have a minute to finish up, and a timer will go off at the conclusion of the 6 minutes. You can take less than 6 minutes if you'd like, but that is our timer strength.
You mean the public?
The public, you said.
The public. Now, the proposals will be tomorrow.
Okay, do you all have just operate this on a raised hand? Okay. If you want to make comments, complain, praise someone, or whatever you want to do, any public comments, if you'll come to the microphone, state your name, your address, and you're not testifying, so we don't have to swear you in, but we do need to record your name. So, who'd like to go first? We'll start over here. All right.
So my name is Courtney Martin, and I live at 1035 Park Street in Bowling Green.
1035 Park,
Yes.
Courtney Martin. Thank you very much.
So thank you guys for opening this meeting for public comment. Like I said, my name's Courtney, and I have 4 years of recycling advocacy experience, but I'm joining you guys today as a concerned citizen. So first, I just wanted to affirm that, at least from my perspective, this community really wants accessible recycling. In my professional position, we've received countless inquiries and questions from the public concerning community recycling. So to help gather concrete data, a WKU graduate student launched a community recycling survey in May of 2020. And despite limited resources to distribute the survey, we received 278 responses, which I would like to share with the fiscal court as soon as I get back to my office tomorrow. Of these responses, most respondents were willing to pay $5 to $20 monthly for recycling services, and 82% of respondents were dissatisfied or extremely dissatisfied with the current recycling options here in Bowling Green.
Now, is that before or after they quit?
That was after they quit, since we
Okay.
launched it in 2020.
All right.
And in addition to citizen recycling interest, we've had a lot of interest from local industry partners who want to source recycled materials from Bowling Green. So WKU has been working with these stakeholders, specifically Clark Beverage, Logan Aluminum, and the Chamber of Commerce for the past 4 months to establish better community recycling. But it gets a whole lot easier whenever we have more robust community resources to plug into. So we're really hoping that over the next few months we can get those established. And I'm realistic. I know that there are community members who are going to express some disapproval of resuming recycling, but I believe that comes from a place of fear, not knowing the ballpark of what expense may be associated with that. So I did want to share that there's a few ways to make recycling more affordable in our city. So first, there's grant funding available through the KY Pride Recycling Grant. WKU has had a lot of luck gathering funding to improve our program through this grant, and we'd be happy to partner with the fiscal court or the city of Bowling Green to get waste receptacles, specifically bins, to help lower the cost burden of resuming a recycling program. And there's also really generous grants through the Recycling Partnership and Coca-Cola. There's also different ways to help with the perception of recycling services, like combining trash disposal and recycling disposal into a flat rate solid waste disposal fee, because that more accurately reflects the labor associated with hauling that material. So I'm just really optimistic that the fiscal court will resume these services. I think that this is a growing opportunity for our city, and I hope that it can move us in a more sustainable future. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Are we allowed to ask her a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
How much was the grant at WKU?
So it varies. We've applied for it for about 4 years, anywhere from $30,000 to $130,000 is the typical gain. And I know, like, in Callaway County,
J-
fiscal court applied for that before.
If you don't mind, come back to the microphone. It's all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, so it's anywhere from $30,000 to $130,000 is kind of the ballpark rate, but WKU's received up to $200,000 for the composting side of the grant. So it really just depends on what you're requesting funding for. There is a 25% cost share, but that still radically lowers the cost of those materials.
Okay. Thank you.
The
Yes.
survey that you sent out,
Yes?
did you have a age on those surveys
Yeah.
and a household income average on that survey?
So I don't recall if we asked household income. I know that we do have household number, so if it's a 2-person, 3-person, 4-person. And then also, we do have age ranges. And I know 55 to like 65, and then 35 to 45 were the 2 main age groups that responded. But we had a pretty good distribution of ages. But yeah, I have that PDF, so I can email it to you all tomorrow. It's
Great.
a little hefty.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. If I could just get if you raise your hands if you want to make a comment tonight. Just trying to get a grasp on. Okay. Who would like to be next? Yes, sir.
I'm Ken Perdue, live at 3422 Silver Sun Court, Bowling Green, Kentucky. Lived there quite a while. And I've been in the aluminum business for a long time. I thank Courtney for speaking. I didn't intend to speak tonight. I came to listen primarily. But I just want to offer some background to the group, to this area. I've been in the aluminum business a long time. I've worked at Logan Aluminum. Logan manufactures, they're the biggest can sheet manufacturer in the world probably. And I tell people that half of everyone's six-pack comes from product that's produced at that plant. Yeah. And the majority of that product is recycled content, 60, 70, 80%. It depends on what's going on. Logan's a joint venture. We don't actually buy the product, so there's no profit for Logan in this, that's for sure. It's just the right thing to do. It's a very sustainable product. You can't read the news without hearing about sustainability, but it takes 5% of the energy to make a can out of recycled aluminum as it does from prime product. And half of everybody's six-pack comes from that plant in Russellville, Kentucky. We ship over 2 billion pounds of it a year. That's a lot of cans. It's a lot of cans. It's primarily recycled content. It's a 60-day turnaround. You know, it comes in a scrap can. We roll it, we melt it, roll it, ship it out of stock. Coke, Budweiser, somebody makes cans out of it. Somebody buys it, comes back to Logan. And we get cans from all over North America. There's cans on that hill from North America, Central America, Mexico. I'm just interested to see how we can work together to get cans from Warren County or this local region to that plant, because it's kind of disappointing when you go out there and you see them from everywhere but this area. And it's a tough problem to solve, and I understand the economics of it. But there's enough interest in this. You have two of the biggest can makers in the world here with Crown and Ball. You have Logan, you have Alice Head recycling aluminum here. There's a lot of people that melt aluminum. The aluminum business is huge in this area. I know solid waste is on the agenda, but if we can figure out a way collectively to solve this problem, I think we would benefit, and I think it's the right thing for the environment. I mean, you hear about sustainability. It's the most sustainable. It's infinitely recyclable, and it'd be the right thing to do. So, any questions? That's just some background information. I can tell you, I know what to do with cans when they get to Logan. We know what to do with them. I don't know how to get them to Logan, though. That's where I've fallen apart. That's where the gap is. When they get there, we know what to do with them, but when getting them there, that's the other problem. So,
I think the real problem is that's the only real marketable recyclable now out of what we're trying to recycle. No one wants to buy glass anymore. No one wants to buy plastic. No one wants to buy aluminum. There is a market for aluminum.
It's a tough nut to crack. I know it is. I really do know that. And so is there a way, I think, how can we figure it out? And I don't think we want to just give the problem to somebody else. I think we want to be part of the solution on how we do solve the problems that we want to do. I didn't want to bring the problem to you and say, how do you solve it? We want to help solve it. I've talked to enough people. Courtney made reference to other industries. We've talked with WKU. I've talked with people at Ball, Crown, Precision Strip, different places in this area. There's a lot of interest in doing that. So
we're interested. It's just we have to find the right.
What we're finding, people take the path of least resistance. If there's not a way to recycle those cans, they go in a trash can, they go into landfill. We're going to run out of space. If you go out and look at all the cans that we have on site that are at the plant, just imagine about 35 times that being buried every year in a landfill. It's a lot of land it would consume. These things just are infinitely recyclable. So
we're big recycle promoters.
When this thing, if I can help, I'll volunteer, I'll help. I work cheap right now, so whatever we can do, I'll help you out. I want to be part of the solution to make this happen, okay?
He meets two of our
Really?
qualifications.
270?
He's qualified.
726-0022. My wife will be mad I'm getting this number.
I said it in such a manner that only I heard it. So
She says I failed retirement, but I want this to happen. I really think it's the right thing to do. And there is a lot of grant money available. This is being done in other cities. There's a lot of programs. There's the Can Makers Institute. Logan has two strong owners, Novellus and Tri-Airs. Both of them are on board. They have sustainability metrics that will support this. There's ways to get this done, I believe. And you're right, it is aluminum. I don't want to discount cardboard. I mean, I go through that every week with my cardboard and my glass and all, try to figure out what to do with it. But if we can at least minus aluminum out of here, it's good.
We'd sure like to. I mean, plastic is only recyclable 4, 5, 6, 7
Right.
times, and aluminum can be recycled literally forever.
It's infinite. It is absolutely, and it's 5% of the energy to make a can from recycled product as it is to make it from prime product. I see the red flag, I'll shut up. So.
Thank you so much.
Any questions? Thank you all. Thanks for hearing me.
Thank you. All righty. Who would like to be next? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. That's fine.
I do want to second the previous statements that I do appreciate the opportunity to have public content and comment upon what we're trying to do. My name is Eric Tuttle. I live at 400 St. Albans over in the Indian Hills area. Don't have much with regard to complaint this evening. I've found the garbage collection to be fairly satisfactory. Had an incident 6 months ago trying to get a garbage can for a rental that I own here in town. It took about 6 weeks, but that's you know, it's COVID, it's what's going on. What I did want to talk about this evening, though, is something called siting. It's the plan for where we put all this garbage. If you go to Ohio, they actually have a requirement at the state level that requires every county have a 20-year siting plan. And that's not just how they're going to move their garbage to the dump, it's what they're going to do if that dump gets closed. Because that's really what we're facing. I mean, if you go back to the 70s here, we had, I believe, 2 dumps, and both of ours are closed for environmental reasons. So that could happen to one of the 2 dumps we send our stuff to. And from a numbers perspective, and it's a little hard to extract these numbers from the county website, but I think we're averaging 151,000 metric tons a year, roughly, in garbage. And so that's a lot of garbage. If you look at national averages for effective recycling programs, and I do agree recycling's great, an effective program is going to move about 20 to 30% of that into alternative disposal points. Whether that's composting, whether that's metal recycling, whether that's cardboard, glass, and whatever those things are. Now, the last year I could find data on in Warren County, we moved 2,268 metric tons. That's 1% of our number. So I'm all for recycling, I really am. But if you're going to do it, we can't spend millions of dollars, even if that money comes from grants, even if that money's coming from someone else's pocket, even if the feds are giving it to us. Hey, that's coming out of my pocket at the end of the day. It's coming out of all of our pockets, regardless of where that money comes from. We have to make sure that the plan has goals, i.e., we have to say that we're going to do this for 5 years, but in 5 years, we're going to achieve 12%. Or 15% diversion. We don't have to hit 30% now, but we have to have a realistic, hard goals stuck into the plan that tie the money we're spending to facilitate a building and people and collection mechanisms and all the industrial components that go with that into actual hardcore results. Otherwise, we have a recycling program merely to have a checkbox that says we have a recycling program. Again, thank you all for the time to speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Tuttle. Yep. Yes, sir.
My name is Gary Verst. I'm from what's left of 931 Nutwood. Recycling is
Sir, can you say your name again? I didn't catch it.
Verst, V-E-R-S-T.
Thanks.
Sure. Recycling is one of those things we all think is a good thing to do. It's good for the environment. It makes you feel like you're doing morally and ethically the right thing. Practicality does get in the way. I understand that. Economics get in the way. I understand that too. And I know this is being addressed as a local issue. Obviously, it's bigger than that. It's actually a state or a national issue. But I just want to remind people that recycling actually has three parties involved. We have the municipalities, we have the community, and we have manufacturers. Recycling is something you do when you buy things that you cannot reuse. Optimally, you don't throw things away. Optimally, you find another way to use it, reuse it in some other way. A lot of things can be done that way, a lot of things can't. A lot of our recycling issues don't have to be recycling issues because people choose to take and buy a lot of single-use products, which really we don't need. They're really wasteful. And the city shouldn't have to be responsible for recycling those types of materials, which we shouldn't be using anyway, in my opinion. In Maine and in Oregon and in most of the European Union, South Korea, Japan, most of Canada, recycling exists as a function of the responsibility of manufacturers. Manufacturers have to package their products and have to be responsible for them after they're used. I know manufacturers aren't particularly happy about that, but it is a part of what they sell. They sell their product, they sell the piece that it's contained within. The world is going in that direction. I don't really think that this situation with recycling can be looked in isolation out of the bigger picture. So, if we do recycling, and I think ethically it's the right thing to do, no one likes to see things thrown on the ground, no one wants to throw things away that can be reused. If we do recycling, number one, we have to let people know that they should be responsible and only buy products they really can't reuse, or they're used in bulk in these little water bottles, and these little containers for cereals, and these little containers just pitch away. That's not a practical thing to use. The city shouldn't have to be responsible for taking care of those. We shouldn't be buying them in the first place. But if the city would make that reminder to us and start working on manufacturers to make products that they are responsible for in their packaging, we wouldn't have the problems that we have. And when they've done this in Europe, they've done it in Japan, they've done it in South Korea, the cost to the individual has not increased. In fact, our manufacturers are already doing this in these countries. They certainly can do them here too. It's just that we're a little bit lax. We don't push the pedal like we should. And I think maybe we should. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I just think that those thoughts need to be taken into consideration when we decide what we're going to do recycling. Because let's face it, we can save all the bottles we want, save all the plastic we want, but if we can't do anything with it, it really is not recycling. It's just throwing things someplace else. And that's really of no use to any of us. Okay?
Thank you.
Y'all have any questions, gentlemen?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name's Bobby Cherry. I live at 1924 Highway 185. I'm here more for a complaint on Scout Waste. The last couple of years, I've had more and more trouble with them picking up my trash. Last week when they picked it up Friday, it had been 3 weeks. It's been kind of an ongoing thing with them more and more. And it seems like they get paid, excuse me, they get paid, but we have no repercussions as far as calling them, asking them, to get them to pick up the trash. They've always made an excuse. There's been times that they've said my trash hasn't been out there, but my trash has been out there on every Wednesday night. They actually at one point changed my pickup day without notifying me. It had been like 6 months. We were still putting it out on Wednesday nights because we didn't know they changed it, but they weren't picking it up until Fridays. but now it's becoming a more consistent thing of where they're not picking up trash. I'm not the only one that they're not doing it with. And something needs to be done. We get a lot of traffic down through there. I don't know how many times my husband picked up trash in the last 3 weeks because of, with Christmas, all that trash was out there. It was getting blown around. We have a lot of homeless people that walk down through there. I don't know whether they're getting in the trash or not, but, trash is getting on the ground. He's out there constantly picking it up. When you call them and ask them to do something about it, they'll tell you, they'll put you on a list for an extra pickup. That pickup never comes for the most part. I shouldn't say it all the time. Sometimes it does, but for the most part, it does not. So I don't know what could change or what. We can't fire them. You can't not pay them. So we, as citizens, don't have any options except for to complain. So it makes it difficult for us because, like I said, we don't have any options. You can't change companies whether you want to or not. And if you don't pay them, they turn off your electric bill. So you have no other options. And I think if the county gets involved and makes them more responsible for what they're doing, because they get paid no matter what, whether they pick our trash up or not, they still get paid. And I think if somebody makes them accountable, they might do a better job.
Just make sure I understand. You say you're 1924 Highway 185?
Yes, but according to Scott Waste, I'm 1924 Richardsville Road.
Okay, so are you saying your building's coming through BGMU?
Correct. I live directly across from the VFW hall.
Okay, and your electric's through BGMU?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I mean, I just want to make sure because that is the only way. The city franchise is the only one that you have no choice on because it's an exclusive franchise.
Correct.
If you're in the county, there are multiple franchises that you can pick and select.
Correct.
So I was-
And then
make
it
sure I
makes it
understood
difficult
that.
not being able to choose because, like I said, there's no consequences to them because you can't fire them, you can't choose another company, you are just stuck with them.
All right.
Yes, sir.
When I've had this situation, I've called the representative, Pete. I'm a magistrate, so it's my job, when you call me, to call them and ask them to please take care of this problem, and he always has. Now, I'm not taking up for Scott, but this is what I've always had the situation.
Okay.
So you need to get in touch with your magistrate.
Okay.
Because I think
Happy to talk to you.
Threw you under the bus, Mark.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Kevin Mays at 816 Moreland Drive. I wasn't really sure what to expect this evening. I thought maybe we were going to hear some about the proposals that are going to be coming under review for return of curbside recycling. But if we're not hearing any details about that, my question is, in these RFPs that have gone out, is there any discussion about, instead of having curbside recycling, setting up various collection points where consumers or the residents can bring the recycling to the bins? This is a practice that Nashville uses. They have about 10 different collection sites, usually at the high schools or elementary schools. We wind up taking our plastic and our other stuff down there about once a month, but it's very convenient that you can go to this one place. They have the isolated trailers that you can dump them in. And obviously one of the biggest issues with curbside recycling is the labor involved in sorting the recycling when it gets to the centers. This seems to eliminate a lot of that labor by having the sorting already done for them. So I hope that that's being considered in these proposals.
And back to the glass, I know plastic, we're just down to nothing but aluminum and cardboard.
Yes, and that brings me to the other point. If we're going to continue with, who's the current, it's SA Aluminum now or whoever they became, what type of hours are they going to have where residents can bring their recycling to? Right now it's pretty limited basis, few hours during the week usually during business hours when most people are working. There needs to at least be some sort of 24/7 access to be able to drop off our recycling. Sir,
My wife insists I recycle, so I do.
you married good.
There you go, very well, 48 years. And I take my cardboard and my cans out to Southern Recycling.
Southern Recycling, thank you.
I assume most people know that. If not, once a month or whatever, we
Right.
pick it up in our garage and take it there.
But they do have limited hours.
Well, I'm not sure the hours. I'm always there before they close again.
Right.
It's like 9 to 4, is what it is, no Saturdays to be able to do anything. If you don't work, you work 9 to 4, you cannot go. On weekends, we take our cardboard and aluminum to the place here, and then we take all our glass and our plastic down to the places he's talking about in Nashville. That's what we do.
Those are my comments. Thank you.
Logan County recycles. I have a sister-in-law that we take our plastic and glass to Logan County, and they recycle there.
If Logan County can do it, Warren County surely could, right?
The way Logan County does, they have 1 week a month that they do the recycling
Yeah.
stuff. That's how they're doing it.
And I'm with Ken. Aluminum is the way to go, but that's another topic.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Carrie Pratt. I live at 1309 Richland Way. Excuse me, and I really don't like speaking in front of people, but I'm going to.
I can't hear you.
I can say your name again, I didn't hear you.
Carrie, Carrie Pratt. Carrie Pratt, is that better? Okay, so I am in a Facebook group for the Briarwood Neighborhood group. And, there were a lot of complaints after the storm about trash not being picked up right away. People were complaining about birds and other animals in their trash. And it had me thinking about some of the time I've spent in other countries, in India, in South America, and being in the trash dumps where people live there. And what a privilege it is that we have trash pickup and we don't see the things that are discarded. And it's made me think about, my experience here in Bowling Green and, with Scott Waste. I've had no problems really. When there has been a problem or not picked up on time, I've been able to complain. And I thought back to the complaints about during the storm and realized that there were wires down everywhere. There were poles tilted that I don't think trucks could get through safely. So there were a lot of issues, and it made me think that maybe we need to step back and see it as a whole. Our experience in Bowling Green has been pretty simple. We've had a really good experience with our trash, and everybody's really nice. During the pandemic, the trash guys stopped and talked to my kids. My son is obsessed with garbage trucks, and at his 3rd birthday, I called Scott Waste, and they sent out a truck with the garbage guys and did a demo with the kids, and we had recycling games and whatnot. And it was on 4th of July, so people that came out weren't even actually working that day. So it was really nice. So I just wanted to put my support behind Scott Waste. And then I also want to make another point about recycling. And I grew up in Lexington. We had recycling when I was super, super young. They were called Rosie's. And so I've been a recycler my entire life. I lived in Florida for 15 years, and I came back. I recycle at Western. We started going out to Southern Recycling after the program ended. We still take our cans out there. My kids love the experience of selling their cans back and get a little bit of money. But I've also read a lot of the national reporting about what is recycling and what it is we're dealing with as a country. And so, I don't want to say let's not be recyclers and let's not, do that program because I think it's really good. But I think there is a lot of doubt that a lot of people have that our recycling is actually getting to be recycled and it's not being sent to another country and just dumped somewhere. So, as you guys are doing your due diligence and doing your jobs, I'm sure you're asking those questions and I trust you. And that's really all I have to say, but thank you so much.
Any questions?
Good, thanks.
Thank you so much. All righty. Yes, sir.
I'm Jerry Daniels. I live at 664 Windmill Circle. I moved here from Hendersonville 2.5 years ago, and I have found that the trash pickup has been exceptional. We had one day during the winter storm where it didn't get picked up for 3 days, but they were right on top of everything else. I've lived in many places. I'm 76 years old, and I've never been to a meeting like this before. I never felt involved. I'm just glad to be at Bowling Green. When I lived in California, we had recycling, but you put everything in one bin, and they sent it out to the prison, the Folsom Prison that Johnny Cash made famous.
Where they separated.
And the prisoners would sort it all out. And that went on for years, and then for some reason they contracted that out. And you would have a separate bin to put your recycles in, and another truck would come by, and it seemed awfully complicated and very little return for the efforts. But I would like to just say I've been really pleased with my trash pickup since I've been here. And I'm glad to live here.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you
Any
here.
questions?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
James Beckner, 765 Rich Pond Rockfield Road on Highway 242. I'm with the Mama's Kitchen, Papa's Bar in Warren County in Rockinby Horse and Carriage. Speaking on behalf of the Taylor Sanitation that takes care of us, I would like to praise them very well. They've done an excellent job. I've known the family for many years. Their work ethics is very high. They take care, and what they say they do. Big thing is that they're very responsible. They're on time to come and pick up our trash and make sure things are took care of. So I hope they see them a lot more and let them grow in their business and continue their service. They do an excellent job. The other thing I would like to mention on the behalf of their employees on our little 2-lane road. I live on the stretch there. It turns by the S curve by the railroad track, and the next curve is going towards Rich Pond. They use that as a racetrack. We have tried and tried to get someone to come out to help. Now, it's not just the sanitation we're talking about for their employees, but families, kids, and everything else. We've had crotch rockets. I know it's well over 100 when they go by our house. And there's also been vehicles, cars, trucks, but most of your motorcycles, I don't know how they make the next curve, but I would like to see some help on that to the safety of our stretch of road of Highway 242. But the main thing, as I said, the Taylor Sanitation has done such of a good job. I hope they continue growing and doing a lot more for our community and everyone else.
One thing real quick, could I get your telephone number?
Oh, 270-792-3838.
Thank you very much.
765.
Yes, sir.
Curry Milliken's my name.
Yes, sir.
I live at 681 McFarland Lane. I would just like to echo what this past gentleman just said about Taylor Sanitation. They have been my provider, and I've been their customer for over 30 years. And I could not be more pleased with the service that they have rendered. I just candidly don't think it could be any better. And I just wanted to say that on their behalf. I'm just here as a private citizen, not as an attorney tonight. But I am very appreciative of the service that they render.
Thank you so much.
Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Mr. Milliken?
It'd be the only time we could ask him a question, not be on the clock.
Thank you, Kirk. Anyone else over here? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Vicki Gregory, and I live at 2803 Carriage Hill Drive. And I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but Taylor Sanitation is also my company and has been for 34 years. I have never had a complaint. They're excellent. They come to work on days when maybe, I didn't expect them because the weather's been bad, but they're really, really good, and I appreciate it so much. Also, just as a little aside, I happened to fall a couple of years ago and break my knee, and Tremaine of Taylor Sanitation came and picked me up, rescued me as a matter of fact, and got me some help. So I have always appreciated his, he's just a really good person and runs a good company and has for a number of years. Now, as to the recycling, I would like to say that I'm strongly in favor of that. I think it's a shame that we throw so many things away and pollute our environment. I think we're better than that. I think we can do better than that. And I appreciate tonight you all giving us this chance to speak. I think it's good for you to hear from the public. So I do hope that we can resume some kind of recycling, whether it's curbside or whether the bins, whoever came, I had read about that also. And at least if we can't do curbside, maybe an alternative would be the bins where we could take it to that would be convenient for us. So again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Yes, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. My name is Robin Harden. I live at 765 Rich Pond, Rockfield Road in Rockfield. I'm the owner of Mamaw's Kitchen and Bar and the Rockin' Bee Farm Weddings and Events. Several years ago, when we were just opening Mamaw's Kitchen, I had a group come in and patronize us, and they brought a gazillion people. And it was getting late, and so they were my only customers for the night. And before the night was over with, a lady stood up and said, "What do you have for your garbage service?" And it was Miss Tina Taylor. There she is. And as a single female owner in a small business, I really like to pay attention when other owners are single family, small business. So she vied for my business and I gave it to her, and we're exceptionally pleased. As a matter of fact, when my garbage man comes and picks up my trash, I make sure he has good old sweet tea and something to eat. Thank you.
All righty. Yes.
I'm Sharon Crawford, and I live at 3318 Kyle Court And I've lived in Warren County a long, long time. And when I used to live out near Rich Pond, I would go to the fire station and recycle. I've tried to recycle ever since we moved here many years ago. Right now, it's harder to do that than it ever has been because there's nowhere to take my recyclables. I go with a friend to Glasgow about once a month and take things there. And I know the market is fluctuates up and down. I understand that. I've got two things that have occurred that made me think, you know what, we need to be doing better at this. One, I was at Kroger one day trying to buy a particular type of soft drink in a can. And the fellow was stocking, and he said, I said, you know, you don't have this product anymore. And he said, that's because we don't have enough aluminum to make the cans to can this product. Also, this is not exactly the same kind of an event, but I walk early in the morning on Tuesdays, and Tuesdays when Scott picks up my waste. I live now in town. I do have to say they do a great job. I'm really pleased with my waste service. But in walking in the morning, I just lament the fact that there are so many boxes, especially since the pandemic, that there are so many boxes going into the waste that could be recycled. And so that is something that every Tuesday morning I'm made aware of the fact that we really need recycling in Bowling Green. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Annie Silva, and I live at 1185 Westbrook Road, which is off of Barren River Road. I've been recycling since the 70s, and I'm 74, so over half my life I've been recycling. And when I moved to Bowling Green, there wasn't recycling, but then it started soon after that. So when it was shut down a few years ago, I was really disappointed. I take my cardboard and my newspapers out to the, just went yesterday to do that, out to the, to Southern Recycling. And if I have any tin cans, and I take my, my plastic and my glass to, I was told not to tell a lot of people about this, but Western does have recycling on their campus.
This is not being recorded or anything.
Okay.
Your secret's safe with us, so.
I called the sustainability office, and they said there was a bin on the South Campus, which is, with me not being affiliated with Western, it's easier for me to get there. So that's where I take that, and I purposely don't take all of it there because I don't want to fill it up. But it would be, of course, I can remember, I live too far out for curbside. I'm not even sure if I've ever had curbside. I'd have to stop and think where all I've lived. But the bins are a really good idea, whoever brought that up. And one of the reasons, I don't know that much, I know that there's marketing all of the recyclables is a problem. But the fact that there is more and more garbage, and even now, and I didn't think of this till I got here, even now that there is a whole lot more waste from the tornado devastation, you know, we've got to be able to do something. I don't know how much of that could be recycled, but it's just all of it together. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from? I'll let you talk again. Do we have someone who hasn't?
Yes, the young lady in the white. She's in the white.
I'm sorry.
I've just really enjoyed getting to listen to everybody else, and it made me remember some things, because that's what happens when you go first. So since so many people have been expressing support for different companies that are bidding this contract, I did want to express support for Westrock, which is our recycling partner. So they're not bidding this contract independently because they don't do solid waste services, but They have always provided excellent service to WKU. They never exported solid waste or recyclables to China, so that gave us a lot of resiliency. Whenever the rest of the market crashed, WKU was able to maintain services. And even from speaking to them last week, they still have really strong partners for glass and plastics 1 through 7, which is a huge asset. I also wanted to say that although the commodity prices are not what they used to be, they are getting considerably better. I looked at the market report in December, and for sorted PET plastic, it was over $1,000 a ton. So I think there is more funding than I think some people realize in these raw materials. It just might be a more variable market than aluminum. And then I know there's been lots of talk of curbside or centralized bins. If at all possible, I think our community would really benefit from both of those, because even whenever we had curbside recycling, that was just for single home residencies. And so many people in our community live in multifamily homes or apartment complexes. And I think if we're going to make recycling accessible for all of Bowling Green, having a place where people can either recycle in their apartment complex or drop off their recycling is really important if we're going to engage the community in that way. And also echoing to what a previous speaker said about getting good data on the program, I think that's really important to not only have a recycling program, but have a successful recycling program that our community can be really proud of. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. I apologize. I did not see you raise your hand.
My name is Paula Quinn. I live at 1437 Park Street. I totally support every effort that you can make to reestablish a recycling program. I have my own little recycling program going on since the city and county no longer provide it. I have cats, and they like indoor plumbing, which leaves me with these kitty litter containers, and I wash them out and take them with the caps to the Goodwill on the bypass. I also take clean jars with lids over there. I don't know what they do with them, but they take them along with newspaper because they use the newspaper to wrap china and different things that people purchase. I also am a great composter. So I don't generate a lot of trash, but the trash I generate, Scott Waste ignores. I have terrible service on Park Street. They will skip the 1200, 1300, and 1400 blocks Friday afternoon, probably once every 5 weeks. They were supposed to pick up the Christmas trash on January 1st, and I watched that truck just whiz by the house. Never stopped. I sent email messages because from the 1st of November through the end of December, they missed me 3 times. And I'm on a first name basis with the ladies in the office who are always very apologetic, but really they don't have any sway over what happens. I emailed all of the city commissioners and including the mayor, of course. He called me, apologized, tried to have my waste picked up. It didn't work. He called me again. It hadn't been picked up the following week. Finally, he got some independent guy to come over with a brand new can and hauled away 2 full cans of trash. So I have terrible service with Scott Waste. I've been on the phone with Stan Reagan many times and had tried several times to call him about these most recent issues. I was talking about this problem at my hairdresser's last week, and the 3 people who were in the salon all have Republic trash hauling and praised their service. One woman said that Republic had missed her collection day, and she called to complain, and they had a truck there within an hour. So I've heard nice things about other trash companies, including Scott Waste, but the people who get good Scott Waste service live in nice neighborhoods. The trash collectors for Scott Waste told me they don't like the college students. They resent them, and I live right by Western. So, and they know that school isn't always in session, and they told me that they just skip the blocks because there isn't a lot of trash. They also told me that they have permission not to empty trash receptacles that are not full, which is not true. But if there's not a lot of trash in a receptacle, they won't empty it. So these are serious, ongoing problems. Because I'm a longtime resident there, I know that the last time we signed a contract with Scott Waste, the arrangement was that they would take the receptacles from beside the house, wherever they were located, move them to the street, and put them back. They never put them back. And if the cans go into the street or fall over in the street, they leave them there. So it's a very serious problem. I'm just going through my notes here. So I really hope that, that you all consider getting another trash hauling company, or give the citizens of Warren County the option of contracting with somebody besides Scott Waste, because as this lady in the lantern coat said, we are at their mercy. Scott Waste in the past year or two probably owes me about between $150 and $200 in missed collections. I'll never see that money. So please do something for us. Thank you very much. And thanks for having this meeting tonight. We all really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Okay. Let me just say, wrapping this up, we do appreciate everyone's comments and suggestions in regard to waste hauling and also recycling. I'm sure you all, a few of you probably remember, very few of you probably remember, when we started the recycling program in 1995, we were actually ridiculed by most people as being a ridiculous environmentalist. We have thought that it was a great program since the beginning, and it's been a very productive and well-used program, better than most throughout the country. But the market dried up on most of the products. At one time, plastic was a real commodity and sold well. If you put it in recycling, it was just hauled away to the dump the last few years. There was just no market for it. I agree that it is a real shame not to be recycling aluminum, particularly when we are sort of the aluminum capital of this part of the country, if not the country. I really feel a responsibility to making sure that happens. I just don't know exactly how that's going to happen right now. I noticed at least 2 or 3 of you recommended the large dumpsters, areas where you could take your recyclables, which we did. And we did it at some of the schools, all of the volunteer fire departments for a number of years. And everyone at all of those locations absolutely hated it. Not because there was recycling there, but because they were unmanned, unattended, and everyone's couch, mattress, old car parts, tires, everything under the sun ended up not only in those dumpsters, but for 50 feet all around each of those dumpsters before they could get picked up. It was abused and misused, and that shame on us for, as a community, for doing that to those sites, because that was a good way to collect it. It didn't work because of the shortcomings of a few of the people within the community that just abused it. We were really proud of that door-to-door collections, and that was working really well. There's just no way to make that profitable the way we were doing it. However, there are some suggestions in these, and I don't know what the court will decide. I haven't had an opportunity to discuss it with the rest of the fiscal court, but we are looking for opportunities, and we'll be contacting some of you all in regard to following up on opportunities that we're just not aware of as well. Mr. Reagan, you, Ms. Alcott, have anything before we close the meeting tonight?
No, just that I'm very excited to see so much interest in a subject matter that I find very exciting and thrilling. But that's just my interest going back to my undergrad and law school days. But as I said, 8 proposals have been submitted. There's a wide variety of services that are included in those. Some include different recycling, some curbside, some bins. All these matters are being considered and evaluated by the court. The actual proposals, those are public documents. Mr. Reagan has made them available, I think, through a Dropbox link. There's also some available through the public library. If anybody wants to get your own copy and delve into the details. We will be meeting tomorrow to hear directly from the proposers. They're going to, kind of introduce themselves to the court and kind of describe what they plan to do, what they've outlined that they're going to do in the proposal, and then give us an opportunity to question them about their proposal and kind of clarify some issues. So I'm glad to see the interest, and I thank everybody for coming out tonight, but I don't have anything else.
Thank you, Ms. Alcott. Gentlemen, do you have anything before we conclude? Yes?
I have a lady raised her hand.
Who is raising her hand? I don't want to cut anyone off. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Oh, these are all open meetings. It'll be here.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Mm-hmm.
I would like to thank everyone for coming, and we have a lot of proposals to look at. I think I actually have 9. And one of those is exclusively a recycling type proposal. We also have trash companies that are proposing some elements of recycling. Some have given us alternate proposals from those that we asked for in the RFP. So we have a lot to consider. The costs are all over the board. There are some proposals that include mandatory recycling fees. There are some that are optional, and there are some that are very interesting. But I hope that we can wade through them and find something that works for our community. Unfortunately, we are in an area where we don't have immediate access to a lot of those commodities recyclers. And while it would be fantastic to recycle aluminum, out of about 6 million pounds annually that we used to collect from the entire program, only 0.10% of that was aluminum. Most of the materials we got from our curbside program and our drop boxes were plastic and paper. And we got a lot of glass too. like the judge said, we did get a lot of contamination at those drop-off boxes. We actually had 12 at one time. So an unmanned proposal has to really be something that is monitored well. But I think, like was stated, it's definitely something that needs to be considered as a part of the whole picture with curbside recycling. We don't have a facility for sorting our MRF here for that. We only have 2 transfer stations in Warren County, one of which is basically really rough. The other one is small but very good, but it doesn't have the recycling element attached to it. We didn't get a proposal from Southern Recycling, or SA Recycling as they are called now. They are opening up their old Clay Street facility for scrap. We do have a lot of recyclers in the community, so I encourage everyone to use those until we can find out what we can do. And it's potentially something that if we can't come out with something that works for the community here, we might need to step back and look at this and maybe even look at a consultant to give us some options. We did that, what was it, in 1995, Judge? And that's a potential thing. But thank you all for coming tonight. Really good questions. You were really on target with your comments, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. No other
Motion
business?
to adjourn.
Yes, sir. Motion to adjourn, second by the